Hi there.
Join the meeting. Good morning. This is Wayman Tron. Can you hear me?
Yes, hi, Huimin. How are you today?
I'm doing fine. I'm trying to see if I can get to the video section. Do you just have a white page right now on that talks about join audio, share screen, and invite others? Is that the screen that I'm supposed to see? Because I don't see you or...
You just see my picture up there.
Oh, on the right-hand side, right in the right corner?
Yeah. My lovely
okay,
picture.
all right. Okay, great.
Scare you.
Oh, okay. So I see a white thing. So let me see if I can share my screen for my deck. Is that okay?
Yeah, that would be great. And just at the bottom of your screen, there should be a button that says share
for
screen.
share. Okay, hold on one second. Let me see if I see my deck. I don't see my deck here. Let's see if I can share it. Oh, yep, I see it now. Good. Okay, great. Now, do you see my deck?
I just see that you are starting. There it is. Yep. I see it right now. It's beautiful.
Okay, great. Can I just leave it on, or do you want me to get off? Okay.
Please do.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you for coming on. I left you a message, so
yes, thank you so much. I was on another meeting, and I apologize. I didn't get this one started fast enough.
No, because I was concerned maybe I don't have the right link, and I didn't want to be left behind from the crowd.
No, I would never do that to you.
All right. So how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Crazy busy, but doing great.
Oh, that's good to know. That's good to hear too. Have you heard people applying to the program since you heard about it?
No, I have not, but that doesn't mean they aren't doing it. I have been putting it out there since you and I discussed it. We put it out there at our first Friday breakfast, which was on June the 4th. Also, we talked about it, and we talked about, I've been talking on the radio every week about it since you and I talked. So I really appreciate you doing this. Even if nobody signs on to do the Zoom conference, I think we're going to put this on our website if you don't mind. If we have
your yeah, that's fine.
We are recording it right now. So I will have my IT person put it on our website so people can look at it when they're able to do that. Tell me something about this program. This is a grant, correct?
Correct. It's a grant program, so everyone should apply to it.
Okay, even including our chamber. I mean, we
you have to be a for-profit small business. So unless you're a for-profit small business, but all members in their chambers who are running a small business, if they fit the eligibility criteria, they should apply to it, because I don't see any reason why you wouldn't want to get free money, right?
Right. Exactly. Well, we will continue. Now, this is open until when? July?
Until the money runs out. So if you don't apply soon enough, if everyone is applying, and after a while, if everyone got word of it and they have all the $800 million exhausted for the state of New York, then the program is over. So until the money runs out. So basically get your stuff in as soon as possible. So let me ask you something. So for today, if we do not get a live audience, I'm going to just walk through the slides as if I'm talking to an audience that maybe you wanted to
Perfect.
hear at their own leisure. It's about 35 minutes, my talk. And I'm not going to deviate too much from what I normally do if I did have an audience who may have questions. Do you have questions at the end that you want to ask, or you don't have any questions, which we can just take the webinar for your
Right.
audience?
Right. Perfect. Wonderful. So yeah, maybe I could put your email address in the chat because that part will be also posted on our website. And that way, if
Actually,
somebody has a question afterwards, you know, if they're not on right now, they can look at it.
yeah, actually, we want to concentrate all the questions to be asked on the toll-free number that I'm going to give so people can call the toll-free number for their
Perfect.
personalized questions, as well as
Perfect.
the webpage, because everything is being centered through the program portal and the program customer service care, so we can tabulate all the questions. And if you personally, as the chamber, contact for me, if you have a question for me, you can write me since you do have my contact. But any
Right.
other individual small businesses, please reach out to the toll-free number, which is going to be given throughout my presentation. So
Perfect.
you believe basically that you may not have the live registrants, but basically you'll be able to share. How many members do you have in your chamber?
We have, as of yesterday, 529.
Okay.
So, and
All right.
we have, like I said, we have been talking about this and sending out information about it and talking about it on radio as well. There are other chambers in the area that are participating with you that have already done this webinar. And
Correct.
there's also other organizations that have done this webinar and are doing it tomorrow. So depending on people's schedules, that we just want to make it available as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. So I'm just going to go through my standard webinar with all the details, an overview, and I'll go through the deck on the sections, and then we record it, and then I think the tech person is going to cut out our conversation, hopefully.
Okay.
And it will just be the presentation. Okay,
All
so whenever
right.
you're ready, let me know, and I'll begin.
Okay, so we're ready now. It's a few minutes after 11, and I'd like to say welcome to you and thank you very much to Empire State Development and to you personally for agreeing to present this program and application guide. And we are just real excited to hear about this opportunity. So thank you very much for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me, Jamie, and also the Sullivan Chamber of Commerce members. If you are not joining at this time live, please do take 30 minutes out of your schedule if you're interested in applying to learn about the overview of the $800 million COVID-19 pandemic small business recovery grant program. We're going to learn together who can apply, how can you apply, what documents do you have to upload to prove eligibility, and also what the next steps are by the time that you end this webinar presentation and you learn and take notes. But you do not need to take 2 copies of a note because there are a lot of specifics. I would suggest you visit the website right now after the webinar at www.nysmallbusinessrecovery.com. Where you find the whole entire deck there for you to review at your leisure, or you can print it out as well. At the very top left corner here, you may notice that they're 40 pages long, but basically we can only talk in specific details, the first 12 pages on the overview of the program. The rest I'll showcase for you to know what happens after you know that you can qualify and what recommendations and tips there are for you to just have that in mind as you go through the process. And also, I want to let you know that this particular program and grant application, and let me emphasize, is a grant program, meaning money you do not have to pay back as long as you use the money for eligible users. So you will learn about what those uses are as you go along with me today. You can go to the portal, like I said, www.nysmallbusinessrecovery.com, and you can click on the right-hand side with all the languages that are available for this program besides English. There are 12 languages, and I'll let you know after the first initial overview what languages those are. So you can recommend this program to anyone that you may know who run a small business that could utilize the grant fund that may not be fluent in English. Also want to encourage you to think about 10 people as we go through this program that you could share the info with, that they can apply. Your customers that may have owed you money for the last few months, that are part of their business operations. You may encourage them to apply so you can get paid. You also could utilize these money for your payables. So think about people also that you know that are a little behind in some of their payments that could utilize these money to make some payments that they owe to folks that they'd like to continue having business relationship with. So I think 10 people, I think it's easy for us to think about 10 people that could utilize extra funds for their business at this time as we recover from the COVID pandemic. So again, my name is Wei Min Trung. I'm the Senior Director for Business and Economic Development at Empire State Development, and I'm going to go through the deck now with you. So without further ado, I will talk about what the program is about. So what is the New York State COVID-19 Pandemic Small Business Recovery Grant Program? It's a program that was created to provide flexible grant assistance to currently viable small businesses, micro businesses, and for-profit independent art and cultural organizations in the state of New York who have experienced economic hardship due to the COVID-19 pandemic. I know that was a very long sentence. So just to remember three very important points within the sentence. This program is for small businesses, micro businesses, and for-profit independent arts and cultural organizations that have experienced economic hardship. So you have to show that you have had a negative impact on your business, and viability. So we're going to talk about those three specific points in the next slide. But again, if you did not catch what this portal, what the application resides, or you're going to go learn about the program, or you can identify a language, you can download and change all the pages into that language that you like. Or if you like to identify a resource partner who can walk through the whole entire process with you one-on-one with an appointment for free, you can contact one of the 69 resource partners that we have collaborated in order for you to be successful at your submission for this grant. You can click on the webpage at the very top corner when you go to the website, www.nysmallbusinessrecovery.com. You can click on Find a Partner, locate resources either in your local language or locality by region and by county. So you can click on that to see who is available to help you, and you can make a call to solicit a one-on-one appointment. Now, if you do not have a computer or a smartphone where you can download the application or be able to fill out the application on your own, you can call the toll-free number for the program, and you can request a local partner who you can make an appointment to be able to walk through the program at their site or on the phone, try to figure out how to make that work for you. And the phone number for the program for your questions, technical questions, application questions, program eligibility questions after the presentation, please reach out to 1-877-721-0097. Once again, the phone number for this program, free of charge, is 1-877-721-0097, and they are staffed with customer representatives from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday to Friday. Once again, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday to Friday Eastern Standard Time. So you can ask your question at this toll-free number and reach out to a partner who can help you one-on-one. So now, what grant amounts are you going to be eligible if you do decide to apply and you do fit the eligibility criteria? So we're going to actually take your annual gross receipts from your IRS tax return from 2019 to determine your eligibility amount. So if you have a business that is grossing in your 2019 income taxes between $25,000 to $500,000, you're eligible to apply for the program. So if you have a gross receipt of $25,000 to $49,999, you'll be eligible for a $5,000 grant. If your gross receipt in 2019 IRS return is between $50,000 to $99,999, you'll be eligible to receive a $10,000 grant. If your gross receipt was between $100,000 and $500,000, you're eligible to receive a $50,000 grant maximum, or up to 10% of your gross receipts. So if you had a revenue of $250,000 in 2019, your grant would max out at $25,000. I apologize for the noise you hear outside. I have a lot of police activity outside, emergency vehicles. So if that got recorded, I apologize for the noise. So again, in case you didn't hear it correctly, with the noise that I had. You are maxed out at $50,000 for any applicant, regardless of your gross receipts. But basically, this is the formula that we're using to calculate your grant amount. Now, you may notice on the slide that you can apply per business. So if your business, if you are an owner of multiple businesses, as long as you have a separate distinctive EIN number, and also that if you file Schedule C, sole proprietor ownership, you must have distinctive Schedule C for each of your business, then you can apply for more than one grant. Now, let me give you the definition for the small businesses, micro businesses, and for-profit independent arts and cultural organization that we're targeting for this program. So who's a small business? A small business is a business that is resident in the state of New York, incorporated, licensed, registered to do business, and is independently owned, operated, not dominant in its field, and that has fewer than 100 employees. Now, same definition for the micro businesses, but we're maxing out the employment size at 10 or fewer employees. For-profit independent arts and cultural organizations, we mean a small, medium-sized private for-profit independently operated live performance venue, a promoter, production company, performance-related business located in the state of New York that have negatively been impacted by COVID-19 health and safety protocols, and that have fewer than 100 or less employees or full-time equivalent employees. If you have a cyclical business that has seasonality in your entertainment business, which a lot of them do have, you could take your employee hours, part-time employee hours or seasonal employee hours, add them all up, divide that by 40 hours a week. That would determine your full-time equivalent employee for your business. We do take 40 hours of work time equivalent to one full-time employment account. Now, right now, I want to pause and let you think about all the social activity that was curtailed during your COVID quarantine periods. Those businesses were negatively impacted because no attendance could be had. So think about theater, film, movie theaters, music, locations, opera houses, media, literature, museums, visual arts, folk arts, and casting businesses that were for profit that saw nobody able to attend their performances. Think about them, and if you'd like to support their continuance in their operations and what wonderful job they provided for your entertainment, please tell them about the grant program so they can apply for extra money for uses that they may have had during COVID-19 that they could reimburse themselves, or they could pay out the bills that were in arrears. Next, I wanted to talk about applicants who apply that are either a small business, micro business, or for-profit independent arts or cultural organization. You must demonstrate that they have been impacted by COVID-19 health and safety protocols. So what we mean by that is that a business that were restricted by the Executive Order 202 of 2020 that was issued by Governor Cuomo, and any other subsequent extension of such executive order in response to the COVID-19 pandemic, or any other statute, rule, regulation that was imposed that gave restrictions to the business operation during COVID-19. And I believe more than 99.9% of all businesses probably looking at this webinar right now who is interested in the grant or impacted by COVID-19, so that should be not a challenge to lots of applicants. Now I'm going to go through some of the additional business qualifications besides the definition I gave for small businesses, micro businesses, and for-profit arts and cultural organization as an eligible applicant pool. So you must demonstrate that you're a viable business, like I said before, and how you do that. You have to be a business that began operation before March 1st of 2019. Once again, you have to have been operating by March 1st of 2019. If you started your business on March 15th, you will not be able to apply for the program if you started March 15th of 2019, because that's after March 1st of 2019. You also have to demonstrate that you actually have continued operations as the date of your application. So on the date of the application, let's say if you were shuttered for majority of the period during the COVID-19 height of the pandemic, but you decided that you want to continue your operation, now you're fully open as the day of the application, you're good to go. You could be shuttered for a few days or a few months or basically partially operating during COVID. you're good with that, as long as you're open fully now with your operations at the time of application. In addition to that, you must demonstrate that your net profit on your 2019 tax return shows a positive $1 or greater to prove that you're viable. So again, if your net profit on your tax return 2019 shows a negative net profit number, you're not eligible for the program. We are trying to be consistent and fair throughout all the applicants that apply, and these are the conditions to prove that you're viable. So show that you're operating, started operation in March 1st of 2019 or before, and that you have a positive viable net income of $1 or greater on your tax return in 2019. In addition, in order to prove that you have been impacted negatively by COVID-19 in 2020, we need to see a loss of gross revenue or gross receipts when comparing 2020 gross receipt numbers to your 2019 gross receipt numbers of at least 25% or greater. So again, you take your 2020 tax returns that you have for 2020 and you look at the gross receipt top line. Is that number 25% less than the gross receipt number that you have filed on your tax return in 2019? Again, if you are filing as a sole proprietor, take a look at your Schedule C for that line. And if you are filing either as a partnership or corporation, please take a look at the top line as well for your Form 1120 or 1065. And when you have a chance, you can download this particular program guide on the website www.nysmallbusinessrecovery.com and scroll through the page to the middle of the page on the website. You can click on program guide, and this whole entire deck will be available to you, so you can review the specific of what the slide says for specific instruction where to find your gross receipts as well as your net profit line to demonstrate you're viable and that you had a loss of 25% or greater on your revenues. You also need to demonstrate that the total expenses on your 2020 business income return is greater than the grant amount that you're awarded. So, for example, if you have a gross receipt of $100,000 in 2019 and you qualify for a $10,000 grant, and your total expenses in 2020 was only $8,000, unfortunately, your grant will be maxed out at $8,000. You also need to be in substantial compliance with applicable federal, state, local laws, regulation codes, and requirements in order to apply. As a business who is applying for the program, you must not owe any federal, state, local taxes prior to July 15 of 2020. Unless you have a moratorium in place approved by the authorities that has a repayment plan or deferral plan or any other applicable agreement that you developed with the federal, state, or local taxing authorities. You also must be an applicant who have not qualified for business grant assistance programs under the Federal American Rescue Plan Act of 2021 or any other available federal COVID-19 economic recovery or business assistance grant programs, including loans that were forgiven under the Federal Paycheck Protection Program, or are unable to obtain sufficient business assistance from such federal programs. So that was a mouthful, I know. And this specific language came from the legislation that actually enacted the $800 million grant program that we're talking about right now. So there are some exceptions to this particular rule that I just dictated. So the exceptions are, if you're an applicant who did apply for the PPP loan program, the Paycheck Protection Program from the SBA, either round 1, round 2, and it doesn't matter if you were forgiven the loan or you were not forgiven the loan, as long as you total the amount that you applied for and did receive and get approved of under $100,000 or less, you are eligible to apply for the program. Also, if you did apply for COVID-19 IEDL Advanced Grant Funds of $10,000 or less, you're eligible for the program. If you have also applied for the COVID-19 IEDL Supplemental Targeted Advanced Grant of $5,000 or less, you're also eligible for the program. And if you were a theater or movie theater or a film theater and you apply for an SBA Charter Venue Operator Grant Program in any amount or received any amount, you're eligible for the program. Now, if you were able to apply for all 4 and receive funds up to that threshold that I dictated, you're eligible for the program. And if you exceeded any of the thresholds, unfortunately, you're not eligible for the program. So I'm going to share additional information about the program. So eligible applicant must prove evidence acceptable to the state of New York that you are currently operational and the eligible applicant is not restricted by any state, local, or agency mandate. Now, due to a large number of applications that we expect to receive, the funding will be prioritized based on the business type, geography, industry, as well as determination for socially and economically disadvantaged business owners. That may be a minority-owned business, a woman-owned business, a service-disabled veteran-owned business, a veteran-owned business, or a business located in the communities that were economically distressed prior to March 1st of 2020, as determined by the most recent census data. So you do not have to be certified to be prioritized as a special targeted group for this grant. You just have to have 51% ownership by a woman-owned person, a self-declared minority person, or a service-disabled veteran person, or a veteran person in order to qualify for prioritization for grant award. Now, at this point, I want to also highlight, if you applied, you submitted the complete application, uploaded your documents as requested, and you got reviewed and got selected for award, and gave the information for funding to receive the awards, then you're good to go. You'll get your grant. Now, if you have not heard after you submitted the documentation and it's pending review or award selection, until you get an email that says, unfortunately, you are not awarded for whatever reason, basically, you are still in the running. So if you don't hear back, don't worry. You're still in the running because we're going to prioritize the awards, but eventually you'll be able to get an email saying either you got awarded or you do not get awarded. So what are ineligible businesses? So all nonprofits, churches, and other religious institutions are not eligible for the program. Government-owned entities and elected official offices are also not eligible for the program. Businesses that are primarily engaged in political and lobbying activities are not eligible for the program. Businesses that received awards from the SBA Restaurant Revitalization Grant Program is not eligible for the program. Landlords and passive real estate income businesses are not eligible for the program. Illegal businesses and enterprises and other industry or business types as specified by Empire State Development are not eligible for the program. So now we have found whether you can apply, whether you're an eligible business, and how much of a grant award would you get if you did apply and submit all the documents. Now we're going to talk about what documents you need to start compiling if you're interested in applying for the program. I recommend that you actually gather all the documents so that you can upload it in one shot. When you get asked to upload the documents, it will make your application a lot more seamless and less difficult for you to have to come back for every type of document when you find it. A lot of this document you already have, so just take the first set that you have that's easier to get to. So I'm going to just tell you what those documents are now. So you need full sets of your 2020 IRS tax returns and also the 2019 tax returns. So if you are a corporation or LLC, that will be the Form 1120. If you're a partnership, it's the Form 1065 and your Schedule K-1S. If you're a sole proprietor, it would be the IRS 1040 with Schedule C. Now, if you have any other type of business that was formed outside of this typical three types that I just mentioned, please call the 1-877 number to find out what documents you need to provide in terms of the name of the schedule. So basically, you will be the 2020 complete tax return as well as 2019 tax return set. So the 1-877-721-0097 number is a toll-free number for customer care representative for any of your questions you may have. Now, if you did submit those two complete sets and there are pending questions about them, you may be asked selectively by Lendistry. Now, Lendistry is the organization that the state has contracted to administer the grant program. So if you get email from lendistry.com in your spam box or junk box or email, please accept it as the representation of this grant program communicating with you. So Lendistry may ask you to complete an IRS Form 4506-C, and that form gives authorization for Lendistry and the state of New York to pull your tax returns directly from IRS. So if you get asked to fill out that form, please just fill it out and send it back. Not every applicant will be asked to submit that form. So don't worry if you did not get asked to submit the form. Your submission probably was complete and easy and legible, so they are able to compile data from that form directly without solicitation of an actual copy from the IRS. Next, we need proof of your business location and that you're currently operating. So what could be approved that you can provide? So I'm going to give you a list of documents. We just need 2 from the selective list that I'm going to give you. So you could have a current lease and a utility bill, or a current business bank statement, or a current business mortgage statement, or a business credit card statement, or a professional insurance bill, or a payment processing statement like a Visa, MasterCard, ADP for payroll, or Discovery or Amex, or any other payment processing statement that you typically use for your business. You can demonstrate that you're operating and you're a business in the state of New York. Also, if you file the New York State's ST 809 or ST 100 sales tax collection documents either monthly or quarterly, if you have a retail business that collects taxes for your services, please submit those. So only a combination of 2 of these. So whichever one you can get your hands on first, just take that as the documents you're going to provide. Make sure they're 2 distinctive types of document, not the same type. So if you have utility bills for May and June, they'll count as one. So make sure you provide one additional one so that your application won't be held up. Next, we're going to ask you for the schedule of ownership of all business owners that may have more than 20% in your business. So what will we need? We will need your name, addresses, social security numbers, phone numbers, email, percentage ownership, and a photo ID. Now, if you're not a U.S. owner and you still run a business in the state of New York and you'd like to apply for the grant, as long as you have an individual taxpayer ID number, and also that you can actually provide the form IRS Form CP-565, you can apply for the program. Now, if you need more details about that, please contact the 1-877-721-0097 number, or work with a resource partner. You can identify by clicking on the drop-down list on the website at the very top page. You can locate it by locality or by language, like I said before. And if you're an employer business, we're going to need a Form NYS 45 document to verify your current employee numbers. And proof of business organization, we're going to need 1 document from the following. You can provide the current business license, current business certificate, a certificate of organization, a certificate of assumed name, DBA, a New York State Certificate of Authority, an Articles of Incorporation, New York State municipality issued documents showing authorization to operate in the state of New York. So any one of these documents will satisfy that you were organized and registered in the state of New York. So take the first one you find and make sure you have it handy for upload. Make sure all documents are complete in terms of what you're scanning up to upload. They all have to be in the PDF format in order to be accepted for the program. Lastly, we need your W-9 form filled out and bank information. So this particular program, when you get awarded, you will not be able to get a physical check or be awarded cash award in cash form. It will be only given to you in an electronic transfer. So if you do not have a bank account, I would suggest you contact one of the resource partners and have them refer you to a local credit union or local community bank or local CDFI that can take deposits so that you can actually set up your bank account. And if you currently do not have an electronic transfer set up, do not worry. This program guide would help you go through the process of how you can set one up for your bank account. And the rest of the program guide, once I finish the first 12 sections for the overview, it will give you the screenshots for how you proceed with that. So good news, once you are awarded, what can you use the money for? You ask yourself. Well, the eligible uses of funds are very broad, but all expenses that are going to be funded with this grant fund must be expenses that were incurred between March 1st of 2020 and April 1st of 2021. So that this This grant can only be utilized for expenses that have happened between March 1st, 2020 and April 1st of 2021. So it's not good for any future expenses that you have not incurred or prepayments you want to make. So what could those expenses be? They could be for payroll costs, commercial rent or mortgage payments for New York State-based property, but not for any rent or mortgage prepayments. You can pay for local property taxes, school taxes associated with a small business location in the state of New York. You can pay for insurance costs, utility costs, cost of personal protection equipment necessary to protect yourself, workers, consumer health and safety, HVAC costs, other machinery and equipment costs, supplies and material necessary for compliance with COVID-19 health and safety protocols, or any other business expenses that is typical for your type of business that you can document that were costs incurred to comply with COVID-19 safety and health protocols. That has to be approved by Empire State Development first. So I suggest look at the list. It's very broad. Look at an expense that is easily justifiable and just spend it, because the grant is only going to be up to 10% of your gross receipts. So I imagine you could probably find expenses that could satisfy and use down the grant fund pretty easily. However, if you did receive other grant funds from other sources, you cannot pay the same expense twice with other grant funds that you may have received. So make sure that it's a use that has not been paid by any other grant funds that you may have received during COVID. I would suggest, like I said before, think about accounts receivable, so businesses that owe you funds that you could encourage to apply, that could pay you that expense right now with the proceeds of funds. Also, if you have payables and arrears that you have owed to somebody, please get the money so you can actually pay them off, so you can continue your business relationship. So just think about all those things and think of 10 other people that could utilize the funds. That'll be a great service to our state economy, and I really appreciate your assistance in spreading the word. When you do go to the webpage on the portal, www.nysmallbusinessrecovery.com, you can scan for a QR code with your camera on your phone. So if you want to make it easy, go there, take out your cell phone, open your camera, and then take a shot. There'll be a QR code that you can download, and you can click on it at any time when you're ready to apply. You can apply and complete the application on your cell phone, although it'll be harder probably to upload your documents on the cell phone, so you may want to eventually go to a computer to upload the documents requested. So now I'm going to talk to you about ineligible uses of funds for this grant fund. So what cannot be reimbursed or what cannot be supported with the grant uses for this program? Any amount to repay or pay down any portion of a loan that was obtained through the federal COVID-19 relief packages for business assistance or any other New York State business assistance programs. So if you receive money from any of the SBA programs or other state relief program that was in the form of a loan, you cannot repay any portion of that loan with this grant fund. All right, so we have walked through the overview of the program where you learn about who can apply, how you apply, what documents you need to upload, once you get the money, how you can use it. Let me just walk you through the rest of next steps, what happens when you submit the application at the portal so you have an idea and best tips to complete the application. So once you go into the portal and you answer questions, which are going to be all electronic basically, if you have any questions on any of the questions being asked while you're on the application online, you can click on an icon next to the question that's going to show a little eye for more information. You click on it, you take it to a video that will explain to you what the question asks. Also, if you need the language assistance, you can click on transcription, and they will translate the whole entire video text into a transcript for you to understand what they're saying in your language. And once you do complete the application with all the assistance, or if you do not need assistance, make sure that you take down information that's required on a notebook first so you can upload all the info within one shot. We have found that it takes about 10 minutes to answer all the questions. You can have all the info gathered in a notebook. So please just write down all the owner's name and all the info first, and then just basically type into the form when you get asked the question. Once you do that, you're going to be asked to certify that all of the information provided is accurate, true, and that you're eligible for the program. And the certification form is going to look like this. It's going to be 5 pages long. It may look like a lot, but it pretty much covers everything that is talked about in terms of eligibility, that you can use the money for X, Y, Z, So just sign off once you've read it right here at the end of the page. And you can do it by downloading it, printing it out manually, signing it, scanning it back, or you can just do electronic signature on the form, on the app itself, on the application itself. If you do not know how to do that, please read this page. It tells you how to proceed. You have also screenshots, which takes you through the different steps, so you can take a look. And if you do need additional assistance, like I said, locate a partner. It's free service. There's 69 of them throughout the state, but look at one that is closer to you, and you'll be able to be assisted with any questions you have. So these are pages that talks about how to print all that thing. So now I'm going to walk through pretty quickly the tips for application. Please use Google Chrome, which will make your experience more seamless on this application. It tells you to clear your cache data from previous users, as well as open it incognito mode so that you can keep your privacy. You can also disable your pop-up blocker, so you can actually have the videos uploaded if you want information for the questions we have questions about. So these are some of the tips. Read through those. I'm not going to go through each one of those because that you can read at your leisure. There are many tips here that have the screenshots. You can utilize it if you need it. If you don't need it because you're very familiar with this, just skip those pages. Very important. I did mention we can only accept PDF format for all document uploads. So make sure that they look like this correct form upright and that all the pages have been scanned in one shot. We can take up to 15 megabytes. So make sure that you actually do have access to PDF app. Here, you can download those at your leisure for Apple software or Android software. We need a valid email address, so please follow instructions to create one if you don't have one. And make sure you check regularly your spam box filter, junk box for lenderstreet.com emails for your communications back and forth on the application. And if you want to opt in, so here's the language list. So the languages I've been mentioning that's available for the program that you might want to share with your community is in Spanish, Chinese, Russian, Yiddish, Bengali, Korean, Haitian Creole, Italian, Arabic, Polish, Hindi, and German, in addition to English. So make sure that if you need assistance, you can go to it and get assisted with this download of accessibility, either on a web page by clicking the language that you prefer to see the application in, by calling customer service 877-721-0097 number, asking for one of the translators, or by locating a partner that can do one-on-one technical assistance appointments with you in your local language. Click on the Find a Partner and find a location availability drop-down menu. Now, this section talks about the application. Like I said, take a notebook and write down the information that you need to fill in on the electronic application, so that makes it more seamless. Now, when you actually are ready to apply, you're going to be encountered with this particular web page look that says you are now in line to start a new application for the grant. Make sure there's only one application per business, not more than one, because you're going to be disregarded. The extra ones will be discarded, and we're going to be confused by which one is the application you intend to supply and actually to submit. So make sure you only apply to one grant app by registering for one account. So here you may see that there may be plenty of businesses going on to the portal at the same time for the application. So for example, when we took the screenshot for this webinar, we saw that there were 2,340 people ahead of us, and the estimated wait time is 5 minutes. Don't worry, 5 minutes you can either stay on and wait for it, or you can be notified by an email when it is your turn. I recommend you stay on because typical wait has been under 5 minutes, so it's pretty quick, and you'll know that you are going to get your username as well as your password set up this way so they can start the application while you're on it. These pages talks about all the different types of information they're going to be asking, like names, email, and all that I talked about before. So just write down all this information you need for each of the owners that have more than 20%, so you're ready to go when you get onto the actual electronic application. You could also opt in to receive a text on your application status or any communication for the program, or receive an auto dial call to make sure that you know that your application is complete. But you can also opt out if you just want to get emails. That's fine. That's an option for you to decide. So when you do get an email that describes whether you have completed your application, you are going to get an email that looks like this. I'm going to show you what it looks like so that you know that it's not a scammer trying to get to you. All right. So once you confirm that you have submitted the application and everything is true and that you are not going to provide falsified documents, here you confirm that you have submitted the application. You get an email from Lendistry. Then it should look like something like this, where you have an icon on the left that has ESD, Empire State Development, Lendistry, a phone number for toll-free number, and a confirmation message that says you have completed the file. Now, if there's anything missing, they'll let you know what's missing, and you can go back onto your application link and basically be able to change your answers or complete the answer. So again, please make sure that you write down your username and your password. Now, if you do forget it, you can call 1-877-721-0097 number to get information about your account. You're going to be sent a link after the application is complete where you can upload documents. Now, you can upload those documents that I talk about, and very importantly, if you have completed the uploaded documents, all these icons on the right-hand side, so this is the page where you can upload your documents. If they're complete, it will show in green. The icon will turn green from orange. If it's pending, it will be in orange or incomplete. So if you feel like you have completed the application and you also have completed the upload of all requested documents, they should all show green here. Now, if you do not have them in green, please work on it because that means that your application has not gone to submission. So you're not going to be able to be reviewed for award. So verify that you have all the documents submitted by making sure all the icons are in green. Now, for those people who are thinking, let me fill out the application first and get back to the document upload much later, you have 15 days as date of complete application to upload your documents to make sure they get reviewed on the next round of review. So, for example, if you're able to get all your application documents in before the end of the month in June, likely your application will be reviewed sometime in early July. Now, if you do it after June 30th, your application will probably be delayed until the next round for reviews. It's a rolling application, and we're going to prioritize awards based on what I said before. So these are all screenshots for you to know how to upload. Once you upload your documents and you got reviewed, you got selected for award, there are two ways to get your money. One is through an app. If you subscribe to it, it's called Plaid, P-L-A-I-D, which already has all the information for your banking transfer and all that. It will be the easiest way to get your money and fastest way to getting paid. But if you don't have it, that's fine. Just do a regular electronic transfer. It gives you steps on how to do that. Again, we will not be able to send out cash checks or cash at all for any business that do not have electronic transfer set up. Lastly, just want to encourage everyone to think about applying for the grant program. The grant program can be utilized for a wide variety of uses that I addressed before, and it's a grant fund program, which means you don't have to pay back. So if you have any cash flow needs, I encourage you to apply as soon as possible. Once again, you can go to www.nysmallbusinessrecovery.com to apply, and the phone number to call for any questions is 877-721-0097. And I welcome any questions you may have. But I just thought about one question that people ask me, and I want to share the answer. So if you did not file 2020 tax return yet, can you apply for the program? And the answer is no. Please get your 2020 tax return as soon as possible so you can be eligible, because without that, we cannot calculate viability nor your gross receipt losses of greater than 25%. Also, if you are a business, like a dental business, that saw a revenue of over $500,000 in 2019, maybe you grossed $1 million in 2019, but because in COVID time, nobody wanted to go see a dental practitioner, they only went for emergency appointments, your loss was greater than you expected, and let's say your revenue dropped to under $500,000. If your gross receipt in 2020 was $500,000 or less, but your gross receipt in 2019 was greater than $500,000, you can still apply, because we want to support those businesses that suffer greatly from the impacts of COVID-19. So if you think about anyone you know who meet that criteria, please encourage them also to apply. So that's about all that I can tell you about the overview of the program. If you have very specialized questions about your individual cases, do not hesitate to reach out to the toll-free number from Monday to Friday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. So that's it. Back to you, Jamie. Hi, Jamie. I'm not sure where Jamie is, but thank you for have joined us in learning about the New York State COVID-19 Pandemic Small Business Recovery Grant Program. We appreciate your attention to the program as well as your interest in it. We encourage you to apply as soon as possible and to complete your application online at www.nysmallbusinessrecovery.com, and also to upload your documents that are being requested in PDF format and await for notification whether you got selected or awarded. Thank you very much. Jamie, I don't know if you're still there. Okay, I think Jamie may have stepped away. So thank you so much for your attention, and we're going to conclude the webinar. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.